to the checkered end. Speed demons are best friends. The back maneuver, always true. Racing legends breaking through. Laps and spins and dirty tricks. Julian Friday, fix your kicks. Rev it up, turbo boost. League champions on the loose. Friday nights, come take the seat. The pit maneuver, feel the heat.
We're back again. Sorry, guys. Take two. This time we're going to get it right. We are here this time. So I know you guys didn't hear me, so let's get back into it again. Yeah, sorry we didn't get a podcast out to everyone last week. We all had some life stuff going on, especially me. I had no air conditioning in this house, so there was absolutely no way I was going to sit in a chair and talk for an hour next to a very hot PC for something I don't get paid for. I had to do it for a broadcast. That was not fun. So I'm glad to have air conditioning. I'm glad to be back with the boys. As you can see, though, we aren't in the same spot anymore. Sad face. I have made my way back up here to Reno, Nevada. Bittersweet. I'm glad to be out of fucking Florida because it is extremely hot and humid down there. I hate Florida, but I love the people down there. So, yeah, want to get back there sometime. Guys, how are you guys doing?
It is very hot and humid, like you said. And I don't have air conditioning in my car right now, as you found out. And yeah, it's kind of embarrassing showing up places as sweaty as I am. But hey, you know what? This is Florida life. I'm a Florida boy, and this is kind of how it's always been for me. I've always been a windows down kind of guy. So yeah, just kind of going through it right now. How about you, Jay Hall?
Hey, shit. I can't complain. I got air conditioning in my house and my car, so I guess that's the bar we've set for
Oh, we
creature
got a
comforts.
fancy rich guy over here.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I don't know, man. Maybe you could monetize that and sauna session broadcast. People might pay extra just to see your ass sweating back there while you're making calls.
I mean, it could be a thing, and I enjoy a good sauna, so maybe this is on purpose. Who knows?
Jesse, any life events been happening lately?
Oh, everything's been pretty chill. Pretty chill. As you guys know, I did do the new array of monitors, so converted back to triples after a long time. VR user, so I'm just like, my world's a little changed in front of me, but otherwise it's the same.
That's good. That's good. I mean, I can't believe that it's taken you this long to get back to oh yes.
There was a question in the chat, and it's Nelson's Greenbrier Tennessee Sour Mash is what is on deck for sampling tonight.
Also, good evening to you too as well, Ray Esports. Glad to have you back.
Stevie, yep, great to see you guys here. But yeah, let's get straight into it, okay? So we've got a couple things here to talk about that I want to talk about. Probably first part of the broadcast is going to be mostly F1, let's be honest. And I want to try to start from the back of the field here and move to the front as we get more juiced up. Things get juicier as we get to the front of the grid. So let's start with Checo Perez. I know Jesse had some things to say about Checo, and we really did want to kind of get into what we think is going to happen to him after the summer break. His qualifying has been absolutely abhorrent. I mean, it's terrible. I don't know really what's been going on with him, but Jesse, I'm going to come to you. You mentioned that his race was actually not that bad. He finished, I think, P8, P7, somewhere around there, a position ahead of Russell, which was pretty good, all things considered. But, I mean, it's where do you go? If you're Red Bull, what do you do here?
I mean, he got the car in the points. That's all he really needs to do. If Max is winning. If Max isn't winning, where he's finishing right now is not good. There's a performance clause on him. I'm sure everybody's heard about that. Right now he's not hitting it. That's the TLDR of that. Pretty much. Go look it up. So I mean, if he's not hitting his performance clause, I would say his contract is pretty soft. no teeth. You're not doing that. But on the flip side, at this point, with what's happening, right, with McLaren looking like they can possibly 1-2 again this weekend, with Max starting further back on penalties, like, if it's not Checo, who drops into that seat and scores more points than Checo? Do you think Liam Lawson, Danny Ricciardo, whoever? Do you think any of those people could get more points than Checo? Like that's what Red Bull's got to figure it out. That's what they've got to ask. Because I mean, they're all there in front of them. You got Liam, Danny, heck, Yuki.
Yeah.
You know,
Sure.
three people you could pick from.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and you've opened up another can of worms there that we can talk about. But before we do that, Eric, coming to you, what are your thoughts on the whole Checo Perez situation?
I want to comment on that by talking about a meme that I saw this weekend, and it was looking at my man Logan Sargent. Right, they call him Mr. 007. 0 race wins, 0 times making it out of Q1, and 7 times out qualifying Checo Perez. And there's something to be said about that. So I think with a stat like that, if I was Checo, I'd be really worried. And I do foresee him kind of, being phased out. This is very traditional Red Bull. They're very much under threat now. Their dominance is kind of gone. The secret is out, and I think McLaren is really going to put a lot of pressure on them, and they're going to be kind of scrambling to respond to this. So who do they put in the car? There's a lot of speculation that they're going to put Ricciardo in. I can almost kind of see that because he is consistent to a degree with the pace that he has. Now, is that pace going to be enough? That's the question. Liam Lawson is a bit of a wild card because they know he's good, but he's new. And, most new drivers, they take a little bit of time to kind of like get a feel for it and like get the rhythm in that level, right? So it's a bit of a gamble, but at the same time, they've seen nothing but hesitation and lots of crashing from poor Checo, and he just doesn't have that edge that he once had. Even on the street courses, he's just not that confident guy that he was. So I think something's got to give, and it's going to happen sooner rather than later. And maybe this weekend will set that tone. If he's able to pull off a phenomenal finish, then maybe he's got a chance. But it is worth saying too, kind of like Jesse pointed out, he did have a decent recovery in Hungary. He just wasn't hungry enough, like he was.
Come on, Eric. Come on.
I'm sorry, but I mean, this is how it is. What about you, Jay Hall? Did you watch the race?
I caught the highlights on this one, and
oh, boo!
He was out of time.
Yeah.
I
can't get them all, but
That was a good highlight package, though.
honestly, it was. Yeah, it was a pretty good rundown. But speaking on the Checo situation, I don't know, man. It's just I feel like there's not even glimmers. Like there's got to when there's that big of a disparity on a single constructor, you've got to start. You're going to come under the microscope, like Jesse was saying. When things are good, things might go swept on by. Max might be a hard teammate to have comparisons made, to be driving the same car. But if results don't come ever, even in little pockets, like I said, little glimmers of hope, then they've got to start looking at options. I'd love to see Ricciardo in there. That would be an absolutely, that would be revolutionary there. Maybe that's what they need, someone in the pocket who Ricciardo's not going to set blistering. He's got the talent, but what he has now is just the OG mindset, and he'll be able to put races together maybe if he has the right equipment. But that's something that we'll have to see.
Danny's my boy, but I love Danny. But I mean, to be honest, man, like if I was picking those three, I think I'm taking Yuki.
No, let's get into that argument real quick. But
I think I'm taking
Yuki. That'd be an interesting dynamic.
Before we get into that argument, because I do want to get into that argument, Tesla Jinx on Twitch just said, nice chrome dome cue ball.
Which
I don't
one?
know if they're I don't know. I was going to say, are you talking about the one on the top left or the one on the bottom right?
Yeah.
That is the question.
I mean,
but
it's pretty nice. It's pretty fresh,
It is. It looks good. It looks even better in person. I may or may not have tried to sneak into Eric's bedroom a couple times when I was staying down there with him. But Eric is my old brother. So yeah, but
Old brother?
no,
So what's
old
there?
brother.
Old brother.
Either
Oh,
that or they
wait,
have to
hold
do
on.
battle like Rams,
Is
and they
this-
have
is
to
this
butt
Murray?
bald heads for superiority.
This might be Murray. Is this Murray in the chat right now? I think it might be. Hopefully, we'll see. But while he decides to respond to that, let's get back to the Checo.
Damn, Calder, what's good, man?
Let's get back to excuse me. Let's get back to the topic at hand here before we got thrown off by Eric's beautiful chrome dome. The Daniel Ricciardo situation, I think, is a weird one, right? I mean, because when they did do that test with Daniel, he was very fast. He was within 1/10 of a second of Max around, I believe it was Silverstone. I think Daniel has got the pace. I don't know if Daniel has the race pace that Sergio has, but Daniel has more pace, I think, than anybody else that they would pick. They're not going to take Yuki Tsunoda. I mean, it's a given at this point that Yuki Tsunoda will never find himself in a Red Bull seat, which is sad to say.
I don't know what it is, but that is definitely a thing.
I think he deserves a chance.
He does. He definitely does. He's shown a lot of promise. But
I think he's driven well enough. He deserves that seat. At least half a season of it. Half a season.
There's something though. Like just like Gasly, he's just not going to get that chance. I don't understand it, but it's
Gasly already had it. Gasly had it.
That's true. He did. He did. But he was never.
So did Albon, and look what happened to Albon. I mean, Albon went up, got kicked back out, and now he's back down, looking great, sitting pretty in a Williams right now. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, but I think Checo's probably. Man, it's sad to say, but where does he go? Where does he go after this? If he does go anywhere, Red Bull. And let's talk about this real quick before we move on. Jesse hit it on the head. They might not get rid of Checo because of the amount of money he brings to that team. But with that being said, who cares? It's Red Bull.
He's also costing him a lot of money right now. He's crashing the car almost every race. At some point, those dollars cancel each other out. So I think he's danger close to that point.
All right. Speaking of dollars canceling each other out, driver moves. Esteban Ocon has been signed for Audi starting in next year?
For Haas.
For Haas. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Kick Sauber Haas. Whatever. Yeah. Whoever the hell it is.
Haas.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a team. What a team.
Whoever it is.
Just for Haas.
At the time. But for Haas.
Andretti Haas.
Esteban going to be moving over. I'm surprised, honestly,
No, I'm not.
that Gene let him in because Gene doesn't know him.
Well, but there's also this phenomenon. This is, I think, the third or fourth time that Ocon has replaced Hulkenberg.
Yeah, he just follows him wherever he goes. He starts to scraps dog.
Yeah, exactly. So this was destiny, and now it's completed like a meme. We live in a simulation.
We probably
Ocon
do.
follows Hulkenberg.
But K-Mag, let's talk about that. He's mentioned that he's out. Is he out? Do you think he's done? Do you think he's done now?
So, did you see how he was driving this season? He knew this was his last chance to drive an F1 car, and he was just going to send it. And you know what? Power to him. But I think he's going to have a lot more fun going back into IMSA because honestly,
he'll be back
really
in sports car.
Yeah,
he'll be back in sports car for sure. Absolutely.
Mercedes seat's still open. Where's that one going? Things are starting to close down a little bit. Who do you think it's going to?
It's still going to Kimmy.
Yeah, Antonelli. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they had him.
You think they're going to jam him in that car next year? You think they have that much trust in him?
Well, because they don't want to give anyone who could be a serious contender more than a 1-year contract. So, I think that's really kind of shooting him in the foot. I heard speculation that they were considering a 2-year contract for Sainz, but I don't think it's going to go down. So. And Sainz could be another contender for the Red Bull seat, from what I've heard.
Yeah, I was gonna say Sainz. Let's bring Ragunith in an F1 seat. He says, yeah, nice, very nice, Murray. But
he does his stuff. I mean, I love it.
It's speaking of Sainz, it's starting to get a little bit of nip and tuck for him at this point.
Getting close.
It's starting. Options are running out very quickly. I mean, Mercedes is still technically available. But where is Sainz going other than Mercedes? And you talked about Red Bull as well. That's another option, but he isn't part of that program. He used to be, but he isn't part of that program now. So
He
I
did burn
I don't know if it
bridges.
matters. Yeah, he's
He did
marketable.
burn any bridges. Yeah.
I think that could work.
okay. All right.
That's the best case scenario, I think, but
Yeah.
for everybody, but I don't think we'll get it. It would suck.
Absolutely. Yep.
Sucks.
No,
Yeah.
I think you're right. I unfortunately agree with you as well. So let's quit talking about moving, driver moves, whatever, silly season. It's silly season is going to be happening for the rest of the season, I think. There may not even be a silly season. It might all be done by the time silly season actually hits. But speaking of silly, the race in Hungary.
What a race. That was so
we
good.
had absolutely no predictions, and I wish we would have, because I would have rubbed y'all's faces in the fact that Lewis Hamilton got another pole. But other than that, let's start from the back here. Max came under quite a bit of criticism. First of all, for his on track antics and also his messages to GP, his race engineer.
He's been on iRacing voice comms too much now. He's getting too comfortable on the mic.
Oh, yeah.
and but iRacing is actually,
man.
When you're on it
iRacing
till
is
3 a.m., man, it's muscle memory at that point. You can't control the.
iRacing is a proponent of this situation, because Max was actually running the virtual Spa race. From what it sounds like, a teammate backed out, so Max had to run. So Max probably wasn't at full speed, full strength, but at the same time, he's Max fucking Verstappen, guys. Like,
20 years old. He only needs like 2 hours of sleep, dude.
Right.
yeah. I mean, it is one of those things. When Crofty said that about Max being up too late, and he might be
Crofty's a
grumpy and angry.
dipshit.
Yeah,
That's
like
putting
that
it
was
lightly. He's a
yeah.
fucking dipshit.
The race was
Yeah,
at
that
like
was
2 or 3 local time anyways, like media
Yeah.
obligation
Yeah.
and all that, sure. But like he could have slept in till like probably like 11 noon.
He's
Max
racing.
didn't have
too.
the
Any
fucking
other
car.
sport, they wouldn't
Yeah.
have brought. If any NFL quarterback was like, "Oh, I was up till 2 a.m. watching tape," they'd be like, "He's committed. He's
Yeah,
committed
right,
to
yeah,
the
yeah.
game tomorrow."
Yeah.
But it's
He was
because he
watching
fucked up.
So
because
true.
he fucked up that it's like,
Yeah.
now,
Did he though, or did he just not have the car? The team put him on an absolute shitty strat, first of all, and Max wasn't
Yeah.
wrong. I mean, there was nothing that Max did or said that was wrong. I think it's just the way he came across that wasn't right. And obviously trying to battle up through the field in Hungary. And yes, didn't Max come in like 20 seconds behind Piastri? He did, but Hungary is such a fucking
that was
hard track.
Andy did a full endo on the
Sam,
Formula
that
1
was after an incident.
That was insane. That whole incident. I can't
The
believe they
car
both
was
drove
drivable.
away. I
Yeah.
thought for sure, like I was like, okay, Max, like he's got a puncture.
Can we
real
say
bad.
how lucky he's been the last couple races?
Yeah.
He survived that and only really lost one position back to Clerk.
Mhm.
And then the contact with Norris DNS
Yeah.
at Austria, and he still got what? 5th or something?
Fifth.
Yeah,
he
that's
did
true.
get a penalty for that though as well. So I
Right?
mean, he's
So
been
he's had-
struggling.
He's had 2 incidents that have easily DNF'd him.
Now let's talk about that.
Built a
as
strong
well.
car,
And he
apparently.
has
Yeah. So here's the other issue that I
Takes
wanted
a
to get
tank.
into that we've talked about quite a few podcasts, almost every podcast. We're starting to see 2018 Max Verstappen again.
Yeah, we
he's
are.
he's picking up some penalties. And
never left.
he drives like a
No.
pissed off teenager.
He's
Honestly,
been
he
here the
does
whole
not.
time.
He
Yeah,
doesn't race
it's
well.
true.
He doesn't race well around other drivers. If he's not in front, it's game over for him. And we're starting to see that again. Yes, Hungary is not a place you can pass. Spa is going to be much easier, I think. Max obviously going to be running with
Is it?
penalties. Maybe, I don't know. It just depends on. I mean,
It will be.
DRS trains are going to be a big
Yeah.
deal, but it's one of those things that we've got to think about his racecraft, and nobody's questioned it except me this whole time he's been winning, because I remember 2020 and 2021 and all of
Never
those things. Like,
forget.
I
Poor
fucking
Adam.
I hated Max Verstappen for this exact reason. And he's running into everybody that he can't get by. And it is it's crazy to me that Max, with all of this experience now and all of these titles, still races like a pissed off teenager.
Does he though?
He's that committed to the game,
yes,
man.
They all do at that level.
They
Like,
do.
it's-
It's
just-
ride or die, man.
well,
He's dying right now.
When it was him and Lando 1v1ing, they were everyone's sloppy when it's like there's blood in the water right now, and
Yeah.
I feel like they all can taste it, and it's gonna be sloppy at the front until there's a clear hierarchy established here.
I don't
I
think
agree.
that car is that great at this particular moment. It's not the
Max's?
best car. Yeah, it's not the best
Yeah.
car on the
Yeah,
grid.
this weekend they'll tell brand
No.
new engine going in it if you
And
can't do it with that.
He hasn't been on the back foot like this since 2020.
So do we think that this is due to the zero side pod design that they switched to? Do we think that Red Bull is maybe being a little too
I don't know
cocky?
that it's. I think what we're seeing what's exactly supposed to happen
I mean, I agree.
because of the
Agree.
way. Well, and they caught a penalty, right? They got an extra 10% penalty. That limited time that they can spend in developing the wind tunnels and do those things has allowed the other teams to catch up.
Soon
And
enough,
it's-
though. Not soon enough.
Not soon enough, but we're here. I mean, look at the last couple of weeks of racing at that point.
4
like
weeks
last
without
year, Last year, if you would have gave us one of these races, we would have lost our crap.
Yeah, that's so
Right?
true. That's so
Like,
true.
What we have right now is like almost special compared to like what we just had to go through last year.
That's a good point.
So like I take it all, but back to the point, I think Max is trying to hustle that car. I really
Has
do.
to.
I think
He has to.
I don't think he's got the best car in the grid, and when he was battling with Lewis, Lando was still a little bit young, right? Charles was a little bit young. They're not anymore.
I mean, I mentioned
It's
this
4 years later. They're competitive, and they'll get you.
but I mentioned this with the I mean, I will never forget the Max and Charles incident at Red Bull Ring going into technically turn 3, turn 2, if you don't want to mention the kink, that's the hairpin. But like they got together too. Max has gotten together with anybody who gets around him, gets near him, and that has never changed. That has never changed
Very
one
aggressive.
time. It doesn't matter if he's got the fastest car or not.
That is a result of the way the FIA handled him, and that they have set the rules and the boundaries almost around him in a way, right? Because he's been out.
He's the one prodding it. Yeah.
And he pushes the line, and then they don't say anything. And he does it again. They don't say anything. And then they finally say something at some point. He's like, okay, this is exactly the line I'm going to take it to. And he takes it to that line, and sometimes a wee bit over.
A little bit past it. I mean, his message to the FIA was
and he's up, but
is-
they call it a racing incident.
right, but
They
his
call it a
message to
racing
the,
incident.
his message to the FIA was, and let's mention the Hungary thing as well. Turn or lap 1 got a little bit sketchy. I mean, 3 wide into 1. Max drives off the track, gets in front of Lando, and is almost getting passed by Lewis into turn 2. And around the outside, or around Lewis is trying to go around the outside, Max on the inside, and Max just squeezes him off. And Lewis
Listed it back later, though.
Crazy.
and this is what I want to talk about.
Listed it back
So,
later.
Let's
The
flash
same
forward
thing.
let's flash forward about 25, 30 laps. Lewis is now in front. Max is behind. Lewis does the exact same thing. And
Raised it
this
back.
is when Max said, Lewis didn't say anything, or maybe he did, but they didn't pick up on it. But then all of a sudden, when Max gets squeezed, he goes, well, if that's how we're going to race, I'm just going to start running into people then. And he did. I mean, that was a direct message to the FIA. Well, if that's how they want to do it, then fine, let's race that way, or whatever he said. And he got aggressive and he fucked himself. Now,
He's got
the
3
FIA
races in hand. He's got 3 races in hand.
Mhm.
But
He does.
he's playing with the whole deck. He's got all the chips, all whatever you want, cliche you want to throw in there.
Yeah. Okay,
That's
well-
what it is.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break here. Well, on the other side of the break, we're going to get to Ferrari's, wherever their pace went, and we've got to talk a bit McLaren. We will be back on the other side.
Is your tachometer already at 9,000 RPM? Well, guess what? It's about to go to 11. Check out these videos from our sponsors.
Back on the other side. We are back, and quick break this time. We're doing well. We're doing well. We're trying to get through this. I've got some plans later on this evening, so we're going to get straight to McLaren here and their strategy. We thought Red Bulls was bad, boys. We've got a whole nother can of worms to talk about. Let me give a quick recap to anybody that hasn't watched that race yet, and if you haven't, please go back and watch it, and I apologize for spoiling it. What they have done, obviously Oscar Piastri was able to get the lead. They went 3 wide. Great bold move by Oscar into turn 1. Absolutely 100% good job. We all know that Oscar, though, unfortunately, does not know how to hold tires well. He just doesn't have the tire management thing down yet. So at that point, Lewis Hamilton is close enough where they had to box Lando, who was in second, to cover Lewis.
He
They
wasn't
boxed-
close enough. He wasn't close.
Right, exactly.
They
And
thought he was. He was.
yeah, and that's what we're kind of talking. Yeah, the strategy here. But they thought they needed to box Lando to cover Lewis. First stops went okay. It was whatever it is. When the second stops got a little bit hairy, again, they did it. Boxed Lando. But, well, Lewis boxed. Lando boxed. They left Oscar out. Lando, of course, the undercut at Hungary, guys, is massive. I mean, it is tremendous. Just the amount of, because it's just very, very grippy, medium, high-speed corners. You need the grip. So Lando's hauling ass. Oscar comes in and just goes, Lando goes flying by him. He's out like 3-ish seconds ahead of Oscar when Oscar gets out of the pits. And Lando at that point is asked to give the position back, to which Lando says nothing and grows the gap to 4 seconds. Lando is politely-ish asked again to give the position back. Lando all of a sudden is deaf, driving a Formula One car. Then they come over the radio and say, hey, you're burning up your tires, and they mention all of the corners. Lando says, tell him to get closer. At that point, now Lando is 5.5 seconds ahead. So not only was Lando not giving any time back to Oscar, he was gapping Oscar. And Oscar was doing everything he could, I think, to catch him. And it turned into a bit of a shit show at the end. Lando ended up having to give back 6 seconds by the time this is all over. He basically stopped his car on the front stretch to let Oscar past him.
It was a flex.
It was a massive flex for sure. And it got very personal, even on the radios that we could hear. Hey, remember all these Sunday morning meetings that we have? Like, you know, you're going to need him later on in the season, blah, 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 blah. This is not Lando's fault. This is not Oscar's fault. This falls squarely on the McLaren strategist. Lando Norris should have won that race. He deserved to win that race. The strategist gave him the call. And Lando said, well, if you guys are that worried about it, why didn't you box him first? Like, honestly, it's on the strategist. Lando should have won that race. Oscar should have finished second. But Eric, let's go to you first.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. They just totally didn't need to do that at all. They put both their drivers in a bad situation. They put their engineers in a bad situation. And, you know, I really appreciated David Coulthard's commentary on that situation, because I felt the same way. And to hear a driver say the same thing, and like kind of how inappropriate that is, and, you know, like the mindset of a driver and like how to kind of like navigate that. It was really insightful, and it kind of like validated the way I as a spectator felt. And like, it's good to see that that's pretty much deemed inappropriate. But yeah, honestly, they should have really thought about, okay, if we cover down, this is going to put Lando out in front. And I didn't fully understand the awkward situation they were talking about if there was a safety car. except for perhaps maybe the fact that Oscar then would try to race Lando, and it would be, kind of a head-to-head. But at the same time, like, I don't know, it just seems kind of.
Let me cut you off. The awkward
Yeah.
situation they were talking about with the safety car, they were within about 5 laps. So they said if a safety car comes out now, you're not going to be able to give the position back. They were worried about a big wreck in a safety car, it finishing under yellow.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
That's what they were worried about. So they said you need to give it back.
Yeah, so I don't know. For me, if this was an artificial win just to pump up Piastri and that was like their main thing, then I guess I kind of see it. Or if they're really just trying to play like, okay, Lando gets a win now, it's Oscar's turn. Like it made it really awkward when it just really didn't need to. They really should have. I mean, they have all kinds of telemetry and they have predictions and all kinds of data that they're analyzing to see when these cars are going to come out where, if they pit on this lap versus who. And like they have all these like futures. It's crazy. And for them to have not picked up on this, I just find it hard to believe, or like a really weird oversight. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of internal meetings, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
There needs to be, and I think Piastri, if this was his win, he finally got that one off of his back, right? He finally won a race.
Pretty
it's not the way
cheap,
Oscar
though.
wants. It's not the way Oscar wants to win a race. Win a race. Come
Yeah.
to you, Jesse. Go ahead, Jesse.
It's one of those things. Like I always put myself in the driver's shoe. Like I feel for Oscar because like he did what he needed to do. He got the lead. Lap 1, he set up the inside. There was that little thing with Verstappen and Lando that let him get a gap. He got that gap, and then he managed that gap, and then his team makes like what is just the most like nervous, uncalled, like ridiculous call to cover Lewis, who at the time was 6 seconds back from Lando. Like, and then then Piastri was up front by I think about 3, something about that range. Like, and just managing that. Like, what were you scared of?
Didn't make sense.
Like Lewis is racing Max, right? They're going.
Oh,
at
yeah.
it. You're covered. They're gonna kill each other. They almost did.
They even asked Lewis about it. Like, did you ever think you had a chance to win that race? And he was like, absolutely not. I never even thought about the top 2. He was not worried about them at all.
It was just felt like an inexperienced call from a team that's one of the older teams on the grid.
J Hall, you got anything to say?
Man, that's a tough one for Oscar, man. You could tell at the end of it, it was a win, but it was hollow. It just doesn't. He wasn't feeling it. Now it's honestly now that McLaren is kind of sharpening up to be the constructor to beat. They like as a culture, I feel like they're trying to cultivate that now, and it's less about the infighting, and they're more trying to cultivate a team. And will you obey team orders? Like I think Oscar deserved it. The strategists are really the only ones who screwed anything. Norris had it in the bag after that, but that was also a result of them. So it was kind of them trying to cover their asses by making sure the position went back to what they deemed the driver that should have been in the front at that point. But I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I can see where Lando's frustrated, but at one point you kind of just got to bite your tongue and keep it moving if you're trying to be a team player. If you're trying to make moves somewhere else, is he trying to put a stamp on F1 harder than he is a stamp on his like employer's resume?
Let's talk about team. Let's talk about team player as well. I mean, they were more worried about giving Oscar that win, which is extremely unfortunate for Lando because he can see that gap closing to Max. And Lando knew that. And I think that's why it was such a difficult situation. And that's why Lando didn't want to give it back, because how many more opportunities is he going to be able to get like that? I mean, it's one of those things when you can close a gap on the fastest car we've seen probably in our generation over a couple seasons. You've got to do it. And the fact that it doesn't, they were finishing 1-2 no matter what, one way or the other.
And Lando is the top driver. He's leading Piastri by how many points this season? Like
too many.
If they're looking at a true team perspective, it's kind of That's also an angle, man. Maybe the second driver just has to.
I think
Silver ain't bad. Nothing wrong with Silver.
I think that McLaren. I heard this. I'm a little turning this, but it's something that stuck with me as I was listening to things in the background this week. Like, I think the McLaren think that they don't have a chance, and they're kind of, hey, this is a great opportunity to get Oscar's first win.
Whereas that way.
Whereas Red Bull are looking like, oh, they're still in it.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't think McLaren has like literally looked in the mirror and said, we are. I don't know how many points have they manufactured at, like 30 something, 36 behind.
Yes.
Yeah, they're closing in rapidly.
That's freaking close, man.
Yeah.
That is a absolute bombshell of a race difference, but it could be. I mean, you get what, 25 for first, 18 for second. That's 43 points to get a fast lap. That's 44 points to the other two cars, DNF. That could happen this weekend.
I mean,
that
if
could happen
Checo,
this weekend,
like Murray just said in the chat, if Checo keeps fucking him, then it's going to be. You've only got one car. Even if Max wins, you've got one car hauling in a total max of 26 points.
Max is starting at best 11th this weekend.
Right.
Yeah. That's Spa, man. I mean, like, it's a fast track.
Best,
like
11th.
Yeah. So it's scary. And the fact that they've done this now, and I'm sure the team meetings, and there hasn't been it has been radio silence out of McLaren since this happened.
They need to be head down though. They need to be focused on this weekend because they need to 1-2 this weekend.
Now you wonder what they've done, what they've talked about, and let's hope that doesn't happen again because it was cringy to listen to. It was heartbreaking to listen to for someone to get a win, first win in F1, which a lot of drivers will never get. And for it to be that hollow, and for Lando just to be, I mean, almost beside himself.
Oscar will win again.
Yeah,
Oscar will win again.
He will, but it's not going to be his first win. You know what I mean?
No,
And
that's
again. Sure, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with the McLaren drama.
He
could
too.
No, he won't. But he won't. I mean, not with Lando. Not with Lando as the seat next to him. I mean,
maybe until Lando's strategy.
Yeah, fair enough. But let's talk about the lack of drama, lack of pace that Ferrari has shown over the past 2 or 3 races is scary. And it's not strategy involved either. That's the worst part. They just don't have the car. Where have they gone?
I think that horse is becoming lame.
They look at him this weekend though.
They're not that far off.
FP2 there.
Leclerc was right off of Hamilton.
I guess he kind of was in there, but I don't know. Is that a testament to Mercedes, or is that?
No, Mercedes has jumped them. Mercedes is now the 3rd fastest.
Yeah, I guess
maybe the 2nd fastest car. Obviously not the 1st fastest, but they got 2 wins.
Yeah.
But like Ferrari were, and I thought they would be good because they say it. As hungry as Monaco without the walls. The Ferraris to go to Monaco, you were like, oh, this is going to be their track.
Yeah.
And they didn't show out, but they were there. I think that's just where they are right now. They're the 4th car on a good weekend. They're going to be the 3rd car. And then if there's something to clean up, they need to do it. Leclerc cleaned up pretty well this weekend. I mean, that 4th was probably better than he should have got.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, guys, we are now going to take our second break. Let you guys all digest that. If you have anything to say in the chat, we will go ahead and talk about it after this break. But with that being said, on the other side of the break, we have we're going to Spa. We have the virtual Spa. A little bit of drama there. We'll talk about the virtual Spa, and then also Jay Hall has been involved in a league that Slow Motion Broadcasting covers, so we can talk about some of Jay Hall's experience over the past couple weeks at Daytona and again at VIR. So we will see you guys on the other side of the break. Talk to you soon. All right, we're back. Final part of the segment here. Hope you guys have enjoyed it so far. We've been talking real life racing. Now we're getting into the sim racing side. Okay, Spa 24, Sooty Boys ran it. How'd it go for you guys?
Yeah, so I ran the B team, if you will. I hadn't really been driving a lot lately, so I was happy to run with the. I think the other team we fielded was in the top split. So shout out to Juicy, to Dean. Can't remember who else ran on there. I'm sorry, I didn't hop in the Discord. It
I
was
think Jake ran with them too.
Jake as well.
That-
Yeah. Didn't forget
I was
you on the
supposed to run.
purpose. You're gonna run with them
Yeah.
too? Okay. Yeah. So we ended up running in, I'm not honestly sure what split we're in. But it was a lot of fun. I really only got to do a couple of stints. I just busy schedule, so I was more out of it. Very characteristic. We tend to try to be in the Discord and present. But one thing I noticed, just in the times I popped in and checked on the team and was trying to crew chief here and there. There was a whole lot of weather that we were dealing with, and at some point some really really bad rain. And huge shout out to Finch. That man, he was our Iron Man. He drove so many hours. He drove through the night in the rain, and he kept on the track. So shouts out to you, man, and to Pierre as well, who joined us for his first race. That was pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, we had a lot kind of up in the air as far as variables to interrupt the race, and yeah, something that was kind of disheartening to see. Not that we don't like the rain, it's kind of like a fun aspect, and it changes the strategy quite a bit, and you have to drive completely different, especially at Spa. Eau Rouge in the rain, there's one line, and if you don't hit that line, you die. But we watched the pros race, like the big names, like the Verstappen race, and all those guys. And yeah, first 12 hours there's no rain at all, so it kind of opens the door to like, how can iRacing kind of make it a little bit more fair across the board? Because the percentages of precipitation is the same, but it's like a randomly generated event thing, right? So what can end up happening is exactly what we saw, where like their parameters were the same, but like we had so much more rain and they had no rain. And how differently could that have shaped each race? So I don't know. That aside, I will say it was kind of fun because it was more of a simulator to how the real 24 Spa went, because there was just so much rain. So it kind of played out the same, just less full course yellows. But it was a lot of fun. I love that track, and it was good to do the race.
Jesse, how about yours? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, we ended up P11. Kind of a bummer. I was driving one of the last stints, and we were P10, and like we were feeling pretty good about that. And I was coming around the S turns near the back end of the track. I can't remember the name of the turns. And I caught the smallest puddle of water, and it just shot me around. And it was just enough time where P10 got to squeak by. And I think we finished within like 3 or 4 seconds of P10. But we had a couple of shunts. We were spun a couple times. It was a very eventful race for sure. People had their elbows out, and then they also didn't want to compensate for the rain. So there was just a lot of like bumping and spinning and really close proximity and, elbows out. And it was interesting. I mean, Spa's always interesting, but this one was like a different level of interesting for sure. So the other team, they were, like I said, top split. I think they were honestly running P2 chasing down P1, and they had a bad shunt, and crashed, and I don't think they ended up finishing, unfortunately. But
yeah,
sometimes sometimes you lose.
Sometimes maybe good.
Yeah, checkers are records, right?
Sometimes maybe shit.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Quite shit.
So no, I mean, those are the things. I mean, this is what I love about iRacing as well, right? Murray said reminds me of some days at Coda.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But it's one of those things. iRacing has tried to get as close to a simulation, real life driving as you can get. I mean, obviously, and your setups help that or hinder that. It's you can get pretty damn close to real life driving if you want to. And this is sometimes the shit that happens. You don't think all those drivers and the actual drivers in the Spa 24 didn't get a week of practice, weeks of practice on the sim, on track, just to maybe get wrecked out. And honestly, getting wrecked out in the first hour or getting wrecked out in the 23rd hour, I mean, shit like that just happens.
Yeah.
I mean, that is actually racing, and you can't do shit about it. When it comes to the weather, yeah, I don't quite know what to think. I think it's been way too long. iRacing let it go for way too long before they were able to get weather involved into their 20-year-old sim now. But I think it's a good thing. I think it should be randomized. I'm going to disagree with you, Eric. I think it should be randomized across different splits. I don't believe maybe next endurance race that iRacing holds, maybe the pros do get the differences in rain. Maybe they get the rain on, rain off, blah blah blah. Like, and it's I think it being randomly generated is how it should be, because you have to think that there are other drivers in different splits that will come down, and yeah, that'll come down and do say, hey, it's raining right now, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm getting the same thing, and then they can start talking strategy. I don't think that's right.
No, I agree. It has to be random. I think the amount should be the same, but like different times or different conditions or lead up conditions or track conditions, but the amount should be within a certain window, and not so there's 12 hours of dry and then maybe like 2 hours of rain versus like, I think we had like 7 or 8 hours of rain, so like it's a significant difference. So just like to close that gap a little, but I totally agree. It should be random because otherwise you could just gamify it big time.
Now, let's talk.
I agree, Murray.
Yeah. That must be
no bot.
Yeah, that must be a bot.
Yeah, we all caught that.
So let's talk about very quickly here. Full course yellows. You mentioned that there aren't any in iRacing yet. Is this going to be the next thing that we're waiting on for 8 fucking years?
There's a petition out right now.
I think they should add it.
So somebody put out a petition. I just saw it today to Irish. I'm like, yeah, that's gonna do a lot of good. Well, I appreciate your effort. Like, yeah,
that's a tough one.
I understand why they don't, because that would be the easiest thing to game, right? If you could have like a team car or just another person out there who's like, I don't know, one to help you out.
We've seen it. We've seen it in esports. We saw
pulling out
it was
the
famous team
people and
a couple years
Williams.
ago. It was Williams East. That's who it was. Williams Esports, and they're bottom. Like they got the same split. Their one team was blocking and all sorts of stuff, and it's
inevitable in esports. Like if they can do it, they will. If it's
then it's the same thing in real life. If they can't do it, they will. So I mean,
yeah, but I mean, in esports, you don't have to worry about seeing those guys in the pits, right? So like, there's almost more of like a, like
fight
a
you virtually
to it. Yeah, it's like, oh, we're never even see that guy. Who cares, So, yeah, I feel like that would happen even more for sure. But I think it would be a good thing to add, and then maybe the criteria would be such where it would be triggered by, like, I don't know, like they would have to think of something. It'd be kind of cool. Maybe it would just be like if there's incidents and like there's bumpers on the track, like a yellow, so that could get cleared off the track, like as simple as that, because that would be a little more difficult to game unless you're really sacrificing a car. Then how many times are you gonna be able to do that?
I think you have to make the toe extremely like it's not harsh as like.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe there's an actual toe animation where you get loaded onto a flatbed.
Not like a 2-minute toe. Like if you're gonna take a toe, it's gonna be like
30 to 45 minutes. I think there's only one way that they can really get yellow flag. Like if it's a special event specific, it almost has to be to the point where our subscription go towards staffing fees, where this has to be live stewarded. Like maybe the top 10 splits get it done, maybe something small to begin with. But that's the only realistic way I see this done without people gaming it, some fuckery happening. If they actually had someone doing it, I think is the only way that that's going to be pulled off realistically.
No, I think that's a good point.
Now they can disqualify people, so you could just protest.
Just
that's also
fuck the next 23 hours of my life. I'll take
protest instead.
Let's talk about protests real quick, Eric. What happened to you when I was down there?
Oh man, so I had the craziest thing happen. I've got a lot of life happening, so like I'm just kind of on edge on the emails I'm getting, anyways. But so I'm having some time in the bathroom, and Adam's on my simulator.
Would you like to deliberate on that just a little bit more?
Not that kind of podcast here.
Yeah. What kind
see.
of time in the bathroom were you having, Eric?
I was dropping the kids off at the pool. Not that kind of time, Adam.
Okay.
For your go on.
Yeah.
Listen,
Okay,
this is when most people check their phones, right? That's all I'm implicating here.
Checking it for what? No, you're digging yourself a worse hole, dude. Just stop.
I don't know.
Stop.
I'm that innocent, I guess. I usually look at memes. What do you want from me?
Are they moving? Never mind. I'm done.
Oh my god, Adam, you dirty man. Anyways, I check my email and it's like, I think it said something to do with action against Eric Lightsky, and I'm like, oh Jesus, what is this? I'm like,
I'm
my
getting
heart's
sued again.
right? Yeah, no, I'm not getting sued, but so I check it out, and it's like, yeah, action filed against you, Eric Lightsky. And it's like, oh, iRacing. What? Wait, what? What did I do? So I'm like, all right, let me hop up here, talk to Adam. Hey, bro, what is this? But no, actually, no, you'd actually told me, so I knew what it was.
Mhm.
But I still was like, hey, look what I got here. And we kind of rehashed the incident, and we found out that yeah, maybe the car broke, but he also maybe could have somehow tried to break the car so that it didn't shoot back up onto the track and kill literally the whole field.
Yeah. Yeah, it was not a
The
good.
whole field.
It
You need to
wasn't a
email iRacing back with just that picture of Adam that we have photoshopped.
Yeah,
This is the culprit.
yeah, 100%.
The old
So-
Shaggy defense.
So what
There was a mill.
what happened was
See what happened.
Right.
so we're racing at Charlotte. We're getting ready for the Charlotte Sunday night race for XSLR, and I'm doing some officials, and it got later, and I was not sober. So yeah, I decided to do a Charlotte Oval official. Got absolutely just left wheel got ripped off. Someone tried to go below the blue line going into turn 3. Left wheel is absolutely gone. Car is only trying to go right because I've got no wheel on the left side. I get it down below the apron, and then I decide to hit the brakes. What happens when you've got no wheel on the left side? That means you have no brakes on the left-hand side of the front car. Hit the brakes to try to get the car stopped, and it just goes straight right. I mean, it couldn't have gone more right faster if I tried. So the car just shoots right. P1, P2 get by it. 3 through 20, gone. Just destroyed the whole rest of the field. Everyone's spinning. People are flipping through the infield at Charlotte. I'm getting, what the fucks, you fucking idiot? Are you fucking stupid? Get the hell off the game. Uninstall. Your mom's fat. I'm getting it all.
Oval races. It's like Xbox Live from 2008.
Yeah.
So he broke the wheel off, but he also had a loose nut behind the wheel, and that was just the issue all along.
Exactly.
It was very well lubricated.
Oh,
It
why
was.
lubricated?
It was Eric's. Never mind. But yeah, moving on. So Jay Hall, you also got a little bit of a protest running some ovals, I heard.
Yeah, the same weekend you're down, practicing for the same
an
fucking
anomaly.
race. And yeah, mine was deserved though. I hadn't done an oval race in, I don't know, a year and a half, probably, in officials. So I was like, yeah, let's get in there, let's practice. And of course, Adam is over at my house. I'm letting him use my rig, Ace-Tech, Fanatec pedals, decent setup. I'm using that shit in the background, a fucking Logitech G920 on my TV mounted on the wall, trying to like drive and shit. And I got P1 in an oval race.
Yeah, so is that the one you got protested for when
Yeah.
you dumped the guy?
Yeah.
I remember
It
sitting
happened
behind
multiple
you.
times. I had really bad. I didn't realize the hood of the street stocks is so fucking long.
It's out there. Yeah.
And I was getting into people on the corners before I realized I was really like giving the many bump draft. And I was just turning people, man. It was ugly. Like I ended up winning
Jesse.
just because it was anyone in front of me was just getting turned.
Jesse,
Goodness.
like if he embodied that picture that he has on his Discord, was just the embodiment of what he was doing to everyone. It was a Dale Earnhardt.
Pardon me, coming through.
Yeah, just absolutely, just everybody that he got. He started in P5. Everybody that he got to P4, spun him. P3, spun him. P2, spun him. I'm just gonna win this
That is
race,
an exaggeration. I took out 4 at once for efficiency.
That's very, very true. It was quite funny. So, but yeah, Eric, by the way, it looks like you have disappeared from us for maybe just a minute. But while we're waiting on Eric to get back, there he is. Jay Hall, you've had another league that Slow Motion Broadcasting covers, actually runs on Thursday nights, called SimCar. Got you involved in that. What are you thinking of the league so far? And be honest, like, I don't, Kevin, if you're watching, it's okay. It's okay. Be honest. What do you think of the league so far?
Oh man, ton of fun. I just haven't done my due diligence and fucking getting set up for it. I'm sure you saw at Daytona. I see a 45-minute race, and just immediately in GT3, my brain is going, okay, yeah, that's a 1 pit, easy rate. Yeah, 1 pit at Daytona. No problem. So I get in there, and how did I start?
Well, it was
I don't remember.
By the way.
Yeah, they do that interesting start, which I love. A little 15-minute sprint, top 8 gets inverted for the 45-minute feature. And I didn't think I was doing too good. It was probably top 15 when the actual feature started, but I was working my way up to a top 10. And yeah, it was like, and I started just getting caught in traffic, fuel safe. So I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling real fucking good that I'm gonna make some passes in the pits. I'm gonna have a top 10 secured here. So I get in the pits, get my pit, get out, and nobody else is pitting. Not a single other person pit. And I'm like, fuck, I was stretching it. Everybody else in this league has to be like fuel saving masters. This is all Justin Barrera spec league. And nobody else pits. Yeah, and I didn't read the rules, and you can put as much fuel as you want in the car.
Yes.
You're 45 straight with no pit. And I was the only person. So yeah, race 1 was
you pulled that Lewis Hamilton hungry strategy.
So race 1 wasn't great for you, and now that we're friends, I can do this. I shit on you pretty hard during the broadcast. And
rightfully so, yeah.
Race 2, I also told you to get better, because I know you're better, Jay Hall. You were sitting in like 12th place, bro.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I'm gonna make excuses if you keep giving me opportunity.
Go ahead.
I was out of town all week. I didn't practice at all, but I've driven VIR a decent amount, but yeah. I mean, I didn't feel like I did bad. It's just a very competitive league. Like, I got tossed off. Like, I made some. There was
tossed off.
There was some salads. They were tossed, and
we'll explore that
but
later.
I had the foliage set to high, so when my salad gets tossed with high foliage,
you got 2 past trees.
But yeah, no, it was just good racing, man. It was it's the fucking front pack in that league is the top 7-8 dudes are ass, man. Yeah, and it's like my only chance was to try and, like, if I can cling on and stay in the draft, but. Yeah, there were a few dicey situations, but I didn't take any damage. Just kept pushing, finished 10th. But yeah. Oh, and Kevin, yeah, shout out to Kevin. Yeah, I saw him. I gave him a good draft. How many? I'd take credit for him gaining at least a second and a half of draft time from the middle of that race, because I'm like the slowest pro, and he's like the fastest AM. It was that meeting point.
Yeah,
like, come on, let's go.
Wait, is Kevin in chat? I can't see chat from Kevin right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
YouTube.
Damn. Oh, okay.
Well, yeah,
okay.
Looks like next week is Imola. I'm gonna I'm gonna practice. I'm gonna practice for this one.
Okay.
And I think if I can send a Hail Mary with this inverted grid, I believe I'm capable of an 8th place wall or sprint. And then if I can set up and run that Mustang super wide. No, I'm never going to be up there. But there's going to be at least one race. I'm going to get lucky one time this season. And once I figure out that fucking Mustang, I swear I say that every week. But
so we talked about that Mustang in the broadcast, and it showed its ugly head, especially at VIR. I mean, the tires, again, 45 minutes. It's an open setup. 45-minute no pit race. Those tires get spicy. Now, at Imola, it ain't going to be much better for you, Justin. You know that, right? I mean, Imola still has some pretty high-speed corners it's got to deal with. I think probably maybe 30, 40, 30-ish minutes into that race, that chicane at the top of that hill is going to be your downfall.
I'm just hoping I can jump it enough. Just jump. I'll get some slowdowns. I'm definitely going to eat some slowdowns. It's a horse.
You can jump it.
But while we've got Kevin here in the chat, while we got Kevin here in the chat, I do want to mention the admins of SimCar have done something that's pretty cool, actually. So Slow Motion Broadcasting, obviously broadcast sim, and they've given me the right to set up a team for this league. 4 drivers, free entry fee. So if anybody's interested in that, anybody that watches this that's part of SMB, part of XSLR, part of SUDI, if anybody wants to do this, they start at Thursday nights, 9:00 Eastern time. I think practice goes live at 8:00 Eastern time. Free entry fee, and this is forever. It's not just for this season. So you guys aren't going to have to pay. I can make you guys some slow motion broadcasting paints. Go on out there, show them what SMB does.
I don't need to be in another league. I don't need to be in another league. I don't need to be in another league.
But no, seriously. Yeah, but no, seriously, it's a great league to be a part of, and I'm glad you're having fun out there, Justin. And again, Kevin, Ray, Brandon, I mean, all of the people that are part of the admin team, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. And I will get you a team of 4 drivers, I promise. And yeah, going to be cool to see some SMB cars out there. 7:30 practice, Kevin said. So yeah, 7:30 Eastern time is when practice starts. Around 9:00 is when qualifying starts. But yeah, it's been good fun. I'm super excited for Imola, and we got to get to talking here about the BOP that they did. Again, now that we're talking about manufacturers, Ford's fallen back. Chevy, the Corvette, not very many people drive it, and I'm very ashamed that they don't. And you guys are all picking the wrong car if you don't drive the Corvette. But with that being said, they BOP'd Spa to the Mustang because they said the Mustang didn't have the power that any of the other cars did. And I find that very unbelievable.
Well, remember how their system works. They can't, for whatever reason, just give a car more power. They have to bring everything down. So that the Mustang didn't have the power. So they brought everything below it.
But the Mustang of all vehicles in GT3, the fact that the Mustang didn't have the power is...
Yeah. Was it placebo? Because we could hear the V8, we thought it was fast. It felt straight line fast. It felt it to me, but like, I don't know, man.
The numbers had it. Once they brought the BOP down, like, it had the characteristic that the real life car has. And I think that in that regard, I think they did the BOP extremely well for the event. I didn't see any runaway, cars. My team, I had to bail at the last minute, but like, God, we tested like every freaking car. We couldn't make up our mind. We didn't make up our mind until Thursday on which car. And then, it's like, like that's how close it was between all the different models.
We have Kevin saying the Mustang is the lightest GT3 at the moment in iRacing, which, God, I mean, it feels big. I can't get used to that car. It just feels big, but he says it's the lightest, and it still kills tires.
Is that true?
I don't.
It seems
I don't
like
know,
it's like the largest.
Yeah, but Kevin did mention the Porsches running into the kink before Oak Tree. We had expensive lawnmowers, and yeah, that was another thing I wanted to mention as well. VIR. I didn't realize turn 10 caught a lot of people out. There was one incident. I won't mention the driver's name. Justin, I don't know if you were part of this. Before turn 10, the kink, the left-hander, right? Going to the right.
Bend, right?
South Bend is the name of it, I believe. Yeah. So he dropped a tire off on the right-hand side, and the grass just pulled him. The problem is there is no wall separating that from the cutback after the Oak Tree. So this driver almost ended up on the backstretch with people coming out of Oak Street on the leaders.
I've seen it happen. I've seen it take out the leader. Got taken out by like somebody in 30th.
Yeah.
Got knocked off at South Bend, sent straight across the grass, and then flipped the leader coming across because they couldn't slow down. And I'm like, well, that sucks for them.
Brutal.
Yeah,
You
I mean,
never see it coming. Just
Yeah.
all right. This is a straightaway. Boom.
VR
but no,
VR be like that, man.
Yeah.
it does. It does. It's a great track, and yeah,
It is a great track.
I'm glad I got to broadcast it next week. Obviously, Imola, but well, guys, I think we're kind of wrapping things up here. Unless anybody else has anything to talk about, we can go ahead and bring up some topics of conversation. Oh, one more thing. I see Stevie Ray here in the chat. Get ready. I'm going to be on another podcast Tuesday nights. I cannot remember, Stevie, what time it is. It was Colin, Kevin, but I can't remember what time it was. But yes, I'm going to be part of Ray Esports podcast. We're going to talk about everything that happened over the weekend in Ray Esports. They've got the Formula Vs that run on Saturdays, Formula Fords, and SRFs that run on Sundays. We're going to be talking all iRacing. It's going to be me, Stevie, and one other person. We're going to have a special fourth chair for anybody that wants to come in. So get ready for that starting the first Tuesday of August. Should be quite a good time there. But I'm done with all those shout outs. Anybody else want to say anything?
All good here. Just, enjoyed another great night with the boys. And yeah, hope we all shut up and drive it this week.
Hey, attaboy, 9 p.m. Eastern, by the way, for the podcast on Tuesday nights. J-Hall, real quick, we got a little bit of time here. We're at 26 minutes. Guys, I have been fully invested into... Okay, first, let me 1 second. Let me do this.
Uh-oh. I'm afraid. He's taking his pants off.
This
Oh,
is the
okay.
wheel I have, guys, okay? This is my wheel,
I
okay?
had that wheel for a long
Yeah,
time.
it's a great wheel. I love it. I've had it for multiple years. With that being said, I am an absolute nut for American Truck Simulator.
Mhm.
This is the only wheel I have, and I've been running American Truck Simulator.
That's
Dude,
hilarious.
This is
Just
the most...
fully wrapping around that. Formula
Honestly,
wheel.
I'm surprised
I
there's not a
didn't-
suicide on it.
Yeah,
I
right?
was
Right?
worried about the hand over hand with this F1 wheel. It's really not that bad. You can because by the time you go hand over, you already have the other side ready
Have
for
you
you.
seen the actual setups they have?
Oh,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
nuts.
Moza
It is
has like a decent
crazy.
wheel.
Yeah, well, it's an actual
Yeah.
like truck setup rather than
Yeah.
what we drive.
I'm
Oh,
sure
I
you can
know.
do it out of there's like a certain formula to it, right?
Oh no, it's good. It's good. I mean, it works fine. I'm already level 13 and I just downloaded the game a couple days ago. So yeah, it seems to be working out okay for me. But yeah, it's quite a bit of fun. So we got to get there. Let's get a convoy going. Anybody watching who has American Truck Simulator, we got to get on there. Let's get our own business going. Start making some
yeah,
virtual
brother.
money. Get all the DLC. We can drive all the way across the country if we want to, boys. Come on, let's have some fun. Now I swear to God, I'm done talking about anything else. Does anybody else? Oh, Beam and G, J-Hall, have you done any more of that obstacle course that we did when I was down there?
Nah.
No?
Such a
It
good,
was fun.
great
It
game.
was fun. We did some cop chases. We did some obstacle course, rock crawling. Some good fuck around stuff in BMMG. It's interesting.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
It's
Jesse,
fun.
any games?
Fun.
Any games you're playing right now?
I'm actually looking forward to like picking up a couple of games I haven't played in a while because of VR. Going back to triples. So I'm back and I don't know. I might jump back into like ACC.
That'd be a good one to try again.
That-
Just see what's up.
Yeah. I got a couple buddies that run that over there too that are usually on. So I love the sound of that game. Like
Yeah, the sounds are way better
Mhm.
in that game.
the sounds are just
Like,
visceral, man. It sounds
Everything.
awesome.
So much more dynamic too. Like you can
Oh,
hear
yeah.
the pebbles hitting the bottom of the car. Like
The scrapes,
Everything,
the
like-
bumps, the pops,
Yeah.
the bangs.
I'm worried I'm gonna get a little hooked.
oh shit, Kevin's got a league for American Truck Sim.
No,
Oh,
Kevin's got. He said
Jeez.
no. Kevin
Oh,
said I do an American Truck Sim in real life. Kevin's a trucker.
Oh, that's
And
funny.
Ray or Stevie did say that he did a year over the road as well. But by the way, Too Fast has some crazy setups and mods for BeamNG. Guys, look up Too Fast Racing. I showed you Jay Hall the other day about the setups that they've got. Massive YouTube channel as well over there on Too Fast.
Hell yeah. Definitely check that out.
But hey guys, I think we're done here. It's time for me to go and hang out with some buddies and not worry until tomorrow about a broadcast tomorrow morning-ish for me, afternoon. Got the Formula V's coming at you. Until next time, hopefully next Friday. Shut up and drive it, guys.
That's right. Shut up and drive it.
Cheers.
Peace.